I'm here with the Hustler. Hustler, say hello.
What up, everybody? Let's get this fantasy football cracking.
We're second game preseason. I'm excited. You're excited. Everyone's excited. It's going to be great. A great season. I'm just thrilled. I'm happy we're here. We're going to talk about top rookies today. We're going to talk about waiver wire before the season starts, what you should do, what you should not do. And we'll also do some NFL notes and headlines that are going on in the past week. So we'll start with the headlines of the NFL. The first thing I want to talk about, I went to Vegas last year. I go every year to Vegas, so I'll see you there. But I always make my prop bets. Last time I was there, I made a big bet on Baltimore winning their preseason game. They were underdogs. They won because they've won 22 preseason games in a row.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? I mean, I guess if you're in Vegas, can you bet like without the money? Can you spend money line on them to win every game? I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah, you can bet money line, you can bet against the spread, and I just don't bet on any preseason games. But if there was anybody to bet for, I mean, it'd be the Ravens. Like they haven't lost a preseason game in a long ass time.
Hustler, they don't want to lose any Harbaugh does not want to lose any preseason games. He's there to win it. He's there to win every game he can in preseason. I guess it's just part of his motivation, like his brother. But long story short, next time they play, make a trip to the casino, put some money on the money line, screw the spread, and make some money so you can buy dinner that night. You know?
Yeah, they play this week, so seems
Hustler's
like
there. So let's talk preseason football. Let's talk what we've seen. The Bills' offense looked awesome. I mean, the six first drives they scored every time. Singletary looks great. Cook looks good. Of course, Josh Allen, we don't have to talk about. He's great. I mean, their team, the Bills are rocking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're the favorites to go to the Super Bowl right now.
So, I mean, do you think they're a high-powered offense? Do you think they can, during the regular season, they'll be pulling this off?
Yeah, for sure they're a high-powered offense. I mean, you got Josh Allen over there. You got a good run game. You got Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. I mean, the Bills are the real deal. They made steps to improve their defense. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
So, big news fantasy-wise, the Washington, I'm not going to say the R word. I'm not saying the R word. I'm not doing it. The Washington Commanders. See how I corrected myself so quick?
I just call them Washington. I don't even like calling them the Commanders.
I don't either. And you know what? When I talk about like the past, like when they win the Super Bowl and that stuff, I always say the Redskins. So there you go. So basically, big running back controversy. Antonio Gibson, as you know, he was out there for the first play of the game, which wasn't a running play. It was the kickoff. He's returning kicks. When they drafted him, he was a wide receiver. I don't remember this. They made him to a running back, and some fumbling problems happened in the past year with him. And this rookie, Brian Robinson from Alabama, supposedly right now is going to be the starting running back. What are your thoughts?
I don't buy into that. Like, I mean, if he was already really the starting running back, they could change their depth chart, on their site and all that. Like, they're not doing that. If anything else, this is to showcase the rookie a little bit more. Washington, I swear that they were like 30th or 31st in kickoff, return yards last year. And so that was just one of their real weak points. And yeah, I really feel it's going to be like a three-headed monster. But if Antonio Gibson's actually returning kicks and still in the mix, and they throw it a lot on first down, and so even if like you say, Robinson's going to be the third down guy, I mean, doesn't matter. Antonio Gibson, he's still going to get the work. As far as he got hurt last year in week 1, but he was still viable for fantasy, even though he probably let some people down who overpaid for him. But I'm not buying all the hype on Robinson coming in and being the guy right away.
I agree with you. I want to disagree. I was waiting for you to take Robinson's side. Gibson is a guy that catches passes. I mean, he'll be out there a lot for the passing game. Wentz will throw to him like crazy. I think Robinson will get some. He'll get some handoffs. Trust me. But Gibson will still get the PPR leagues. He'll still get a ton of points. I mean, yeah. I think he's going to do great. I think he dropped a little bit in fantasy in ADR. I would imagine, but basically, I think it's not a huge deal. So people are really like bringing Robinson up in their draft. He's like going in the 5th and 6th round now, which is insane.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. As much as I want to disagree, big news in Las Vegas, where you're from. Little running back people moving around. Why don't you tell us what's going on there?
With Kenyon Drake, how they're going to give him the old heave ho. And I mean, it's fitting. I mean, they got Zamir White. You bring Abdullah over there, and he looked pretty solid, in the preseason. And yeah, Kenyon Drake's old news. I mean, they overpaid him. It was the old regime. It was Chucky's regime, that paid him the 2 years, 14 mil, and like 11 mil was guaranteed or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, out with the old, in with the new. It's going to be Jacobs and Zamir White with a little bit of Abdullah sprinkled in.
I think Drake will go land someplace else. I think he still has some fantasy value. That's why we're here to tell our fantasy fans, still draft Drake. I think he'll be worth something. Don't draft him early. I mean, draft him in the last round or second to last round. But I think Drake will go somewhere where he does get some playing time, and you'll see him out there, especially when these running backs start getting hurt. He'll be ready to roll. Chase Edmonds looks like the number one back in Miami. What's your thought on Chase in the fantasy world?
I'm kind of just avoiding those guys because Chase has never really been like that good of a number one RB like on his own team. Like he's always been a little bit better when he's been used in the pass game and things like that. And we're hearing that Raheem Mostert might be the guy who is, getting some of the carry as well. I'm not really sure what to make of the Miami Dolphins backfield, so I'm just kind of avoiding it more often.
Raheem Mostert, I think his legs made out of paper mache. I mean, this guy gets hurt every year. I mean, he's a great, when he's healthy, he's great. I mean, I top 10 back if he's 100%. That guy can run. He's fast. He can knock people over. He's a great back, but he can't stay healthy, this guy. Christian Kirk made his first appearance for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which actually I have behind me. And he had 8 targets, which in like a quarter and a half he played. And I mean, is this something we'll see during the regular season with him and Lawrence? What's going to happen? How much value does that matter in preseason, seeing him get that much work in the preseason game?
Well, I mean, we already know that Christian Kirk's going to be their number 1 or 2 over there. So, I mean, it's good to see it in preseason because we've really just never seen it before. But yeah, Christian Kirk's going to be one of those guys that you can get in like 14th, 15th round. He might even go undrafted in a lot of these leagues unless you're in deeper leagues. And you're going to be able to get him super late. And I think he's going to put he's going to return on the value.
So Josh Palmer for the Chargers, 75 yards, a touchdown, had a concussion, had to come out early. But I mean, where's his value? I mean, he's having a great preseason. You can't deny it. Where do you put Josh Palmer in your draft right now?
I mean, he's still really low. I mean, he's a guy that you draft, towards the end of the draft. He might even go undrafted. I mean, it's really Mike Williams and Keenan Allen over there. Like, he's going to get sprinkled in a little bit, but not enough to where he's like an every week flex. So that's why I feel like he's not even being drafted in a lot of these leagues.
So I want to talk to you about the Houston Texans. I know it's a hot subject for you. Not really. I'm just being funny. Damian Pierce looks like he's their starting running back, and he looks really. I know it's preseason. I know, he's going against second string guys or third string. Who knows? I don't know who he's going against. But I mean, basically, he looks like he's ready to rock and roll. What's your thoughts on Damien Pierce? Where do you draft him? We'll talk about rookies coming up. What's your thoughts?
I'm not buying into the hype that he's going to be the number 1 RB on the team from like week 1. I think he's going to be more of a second half darling. I'm probably not drafting him anywhere because he keeps moving up the ranks a little bit too high for me. I'm going to let someone else draft him. They're going to get annoyed with him and they're going to drop him by like mid-season, and then I'll be there to like swoop him for his actual run towards the second half of the season because they didn't pay Marlon Mack not to play. And like, even you remember, like, go back to like JT when he was a rookie. I mean, it took Marlon Mack getting hurt, took Nyheim Hines getting hurt a little bit before he was like the workhorse. It wasn't just like from week 1, game 1, he's in there.
Big news. I mean, huge news. Headlines all over. Tom Brady is back in camp. Back in camp after he told the Buccaneers that he was going to miss last week because of personal reasons. rumor is he was doing the Masked Singer. I don't believe he was doing the Masked Singer.
I mean, there was another rumor that it was him and his family in the Bahamas.
I hope he was in the Bahamas, and I wish somebody would take a picture of that. That'd be great. I mean, I don't know why but he has a cell phone. Take a picture of him. He had to make some public appearances. I mean, he couldn't be hiding out anywhere, which is odd. We never saw.
He's got enough money to just get one of those little islands and just rent that whole thing out himself.
That's what Oprah does. You're right. I mean, Oprah does the same thing. She rents a whole island for herself, and she invites all her friends. And I'm not invited. You're not invited, and we sit here like idiots. And these people are enjoying their own island. It's unbelievable. So let's talk about Hard Knocks. As you know, I'm passionate about the show. You've been watching. What are your thoughts for this season?
I mean, I'm not really seeing much, on Hard Knocks that is making me like super excited about any of the players. Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, that is one that I saw, at least in this last episode. So his dad is like a Mr. like universe, like fucking strongman, competitor and champion. And him and Aquimia St. Brown, that's his brother. I thought they were cousins, but here and now they're brothers.
See what you learn watching the show. See what you learned, Hustler.
Oh yeah. And so I mean the lineage is just dope, and his dad, I mean, he's their strength and conditioning coach, and those guys are fucking yoked. And
I love watching their workout, and the dad's there like yelling at them, and it's like crazy.
I mean, one thing that's cool about Amon-Ra, they said after practice every single day he catches 202 extra balls out of that what's that machine that throws the balls out?
It's like the pitching machine. It's I don't know, the football throwing machine. I have no idea what the name is.
Yeah, no idea what it's called, but 200 extra passes after every single practice.
And tell us why it's 202.
Because what was it? His dad did 200, or is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean he wanted to do. I think it was it Jerry Rice or some other?
Oh, Jerry Rice, yeah, did 200.
I think Jerry Rice would do 2. So his dad told him you have to do 2 more than Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
But I mean, this season I've watched almost every season. Love the show. I mean, they do a great job editing. It's on tonight every Tuesday on HBO. But they're focusing a lot on like coaches, like Deuce Staley, like yelling, at Swift when he comes off the sidelines, and Dave Campbell, like madman. I mean, this guy's like a nut. I mean, he's like screaming and yelling, and before practice and after practice and on the just. I mean, they're focusing a lot on these guys. Terry Glenn, a lot of these coaches who are all ex-NFL players. I mean, they're doing a lot of focusing on that, not really focusing on like the players I want to watch. I love when they have like the rookies like that are 100% sure if they're going to make the team. I like when they share the rooms with the other rookie. I like all the stuff that, that you kind of like makes you feel like these guys really want to get the job,
Yeah, and I know we're gonna have more of the rookie stuff because it's always like week 3, week 4, because that's when a lot of these cuts are happening, and then that's when you really start pulling at a lot of the heartstrings of a lot of the watchers, because there's gonna be someone who ends up getting cut who's like on the fringe, and he's a likable guy, whatever. I mean, the only rookies we've seen so far is Aidan Hutchinson. And that guy, Rodriguez.
Rigo. They call him Rigo.
Yeah, they call him Rodrigo.
And Aidan Hutchinson, unbelievable Billie Jean impression.
Yeah, he got props on that one. He did a good job.
I mean, that was good. And if you look at him, he's not that big. I mean, I thought he was bigger. I mean, I know he's a big guy, but he's not like as thick as I thought he would be. But he must be really fast. I mean, he's
super fat. Boy, he's 6'7", 264. Yeah. So, I mean, for him, the camera does not add 10 pounds, I guess, but he's also like fucking shredded.
He's shredded, and his mom and his sister is very attractive family, and the dad's an ex-ball player too. So, I mean, he should have a great NFL career. I mean, this guy's going to be.
Said Aidan Hutchinson's going to be a stud. Yeah, we're seeing it. I mean, his first series, I think he had 2 tackles in the first 2 plays.
Yeah, his family went nuts, and JJ Watt, I guess I read, is out for the year. Is that correct?
No, he has COVID.
Oh, he has COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about rookies. Let me tell you my rule about rookies and running backs. It's just Ross's rules. So we're going to call Ross's rules for rookie running backs.
What up, Albert?
Albert. So basically, the first thing with running backs, I look at their college career and see how much receiving yards they got out of the backfield. If they're not used as a receiver that much, I'm very hesitant drafting these guys to see, from fantasy. I'm just telling you right now. And then I look at where they're drafted in the draft. They're in the first round, second round, third round, sixth round. The higher up they are, the more playing time I feel they're going to get, unless somebody gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And the last rule I have is depth chart. I look at the team that drafted them at their depth chart, and if the depth chart has them either maybe they're 1 or 2, that'd be great. But if they're below like 3 or 4 and they're barely making the team, or they're on the team just because they're a rookie and they're thinking about the future, I sometimes stay away from them. But those are the stats, because you don't really have anything to look at when you look at rookies, because you have preseason, you don't have much to deal with. So I always deal with running backs. I always look at receiving yards. I think that's a very important stat to look at. And a lot of people blow it off, but I don't. I guess that's why I win my leagues a lot. But
yeah, when
you look at running backs, is there anything that you look at when they're drafted? Is there anything that sparks your interest with these running backs?
Well, when it comes to rookies, I'm usually avoiding more often than not. I mean, even a guy like Jonathan Taylor, I think I had him maybe in like one league when he was a rookie, because I was able to get him so late. He's like a 4th or 5th round guy. He's not a 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round guy as a rookie. And really, I mean, if they're not drafted inside the top 20, I'm usually not even super excited about them. Zeke, he's a number 4. Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, both those guys are drafted inside the top 20. So they were worth drafting, as rookies. Who else? Najee, drafted at number 20, I believe. Definitely worth drafting, as a rookie with high draft capital. But you start getting to like, really, that's why I have, because first round is not all created equal. Look at like CEH, going with the Chiefs. Wasn't good. And even though that was, their first pick and they spent it on him, still wasn't good. And I wish I avoided him in more leagues, because I got him in a couple leagues that year. So this year, Breese Hall.
So Breese Hall is my number 1 rookie prospect. What's your thought on Breese? Did you draft? You drafted it. I mean, he went to Iowa State. He's a big guy, 6'1", 220.
I'm messing with him. He's not drafted inside the top 20, so I'm not going to get him unless I can get him crazy late, which usually never happens. If I can get him as a bench player, I'll grab him, but that usually never happens. He's going a lot higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Jet too, which means to me, I mean, the Jets are going to force these guys to run the ball, because they just will. They'll make Zach Wilson make mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they'll count on. So I agree with you. And their offensive line isn't that good. I mean, the Jets. So that's what I look at too, is running backs, their offensive line and their system. They're not good. I mean, they lost to Atlanta yesterday, I think. But the Jets are not a good team. So I think he's going way too high. I agree with you on that. I want to argue with you too. I can't. My second rookie who I like a lot is actually, we talked about it, is Damien Pierce of Houston. I feel this guy will get the ball a lot. They'll run a lot in Houston. That's their scheme. They're not going to throw a lot with Mills. As you know, they're going to run the ball a lot. He'll get a lot of handoffs. Do you like Pierce this year, or do you think that Mac will go in there and just get a lot more handoffs?
I think Pierce is going to be a second half like darling. Someone who I'd be excited to get if I can get like second to last round, third last round, something like that, which I did in one league. But still one of those things. I mean, you got to have him as a bench player. We can't expect him to do anything real early in this season. So as far as like the hype goes, him getting drafted in the 7th, 8th round, I've seen it. I don't want any part of it.
So somebody's getting a lot of press in Pittsburgh is George Pickens. I mean, this guy, supposedly they're saying he's above Claypool now in the chart, which I don't know if that's true, but he looks great in preseason. This guy the problem is he has Trubinsky will probably be the starter. But what's your thoughts on George Pickens?
He's just like every other rookie wide receiver that the Steelers get. He looks super dope. He'll get like minimal play, here and there. And just like what Claypool did last year, he only got little spurts of stuff. He just happened to have one huge game, or 2 years ago when he was a rookie, just happened to have a huge game, and everyone just kind of dwells on that. But all the rookies for the Steelers, they always draft good rookie wide receivers, but they don't blow up until like year 2, year 3. Like Juju, he was one of those guys who like everyone thinks he blew up. He only had like 900 yards for the season, but he was like a second half darling. And so I can get on board with Pickens being that second half darling, but that's why I'm not going to draft him.
So you're staying away. Now, Brian Robinson's getting a lot of press in Washington. Alabama has great loins when it comes to his college career. Unbelievable career. He helped Alabama win a national championship. What's your thoughts on Brian? Are you going to – I know you're not big on rookies, but would you draft him and if you had a chance to, like late?
Only if I can get him super late, and which I did draft him and Damian Pierce. Just I was able to get him like second to last round, third to last round, and so just went for it just because of the hype, get him on the squad, But outside of that, I'm really not too excited about drafting these guys. They're going to go pretty high in some of these drafts. Like, if they're going in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, like I'm not going to have them anywhere.
Now, Drake London was hurt at USC the senior year. He got hurt. In Atlanta's gonna throw the ball. Marietta is going to throw the ball to him. I think he'll be the number one receiver. I think. He's a big target. They really don't have much when it comes to receivers. They have Pitts. That's the other tight end. In Vegas, they have this over-under for touchdowns this year at 4.5 for London, and Pitts has the same thing. So, I think they're great prop bets to bet over. I'm looking at it right now. It's like I think both those guys will go over 4.5. That's me. Because I think Marietta is going to have at least 25 to 30 touchdowns, I believe. I think. So all that being said, do you think London's worth drafting as a third receiver? Is it worth it, or do you just stay away?
I'm just staying away. Pitts only had one touchdown last year. We've seen years where Julio Jones couldn't even score touchdowns. So yeah, I'm avoiding the Falcons more often than not. I really don't want any part of their offense. It was really bad.
Anybody wants that offense, Hustler. I don't know anybody that's jumping up and down for the Atlanta offense, but again,
people love drafting Pitts. People love drafting rookies like London.
Pitts is the first tight end in years to have over 1,000 yards. Hustler.
Yeah, for sure.
Years. We're talking about like going back to like the 60s. So it's like Pitts, yeah, big target. I think he'll have a big year. I like him a lot. I drafted him in the fifth round in a lot of my leagues, or maybe 6th. He goes late. It's not like it's not like Kelsey or Andrews. People wait on him.
And what up? Anthony said, I can't find the stream on YouTube. So I checked on Facebook. So on YouTube, if you search Ross the Boss and Hustler, it'll pop up. But yeah, it's on
said.
Yeah.
Either way. So somebody that's close to my heart, Hustler. I went to Arizona State. I was the king there for 4 years when I was there. I was the best. Rashid White of Tampa Bay, he went to ASU. He is somebody that runs hard. I don't think the running back for Tampa Bay, Fournette, how do you say it? Fournette?
Yeah.
Is going to be healthy the whole year. This guy gets hurt every year. White is a guy that can run hard, catch the pass. This guy's surprising people at camp. I think he's a great sneaky pick at the very last part of the draft. If you want to get a rookie running back that's going to get the ball thrown to him in a third down situation, White is your guy, because Bernard, I don't think is there anymore. Or if he is, he's not going to make the team. So what's your whole perspective on the Tampa Bay offense, and do you think White's worth a pick?
No, I don't think White is worth the pick.
You're killing me.
I don't mess with the backups, man. I already told you. There's no reason to drop that.
Fournette's going to get hurt. Fournette will be hurt. He doesn't stay healthy anymore.
That doesn't matter. And if that happens in week 1, then cool. Whoever had White was like super smart. If that doesn't happen until week 4, 5, 6, 7, it doesn't matter, because then you're just holding them on your bench instead of like making moves. And so I need that spot to make moves. I'm not holding on to any rookie running backs that were drafted in the 3rd or 4th round.
Listen, unless you're doing dynasty or you're doing a keeper
there
league.
There we go, Rasta.
doing something like that. I mean, Kenny Pickett this year, this preseason actually has looked really good. And remember, he's older than the average rookie. He's like in his mid-20s. He's not like a 21-year-old kid. So do you think Pittsburgh will call his number this year to start if the season starts kind of slow? Or what do you think's going to happen to him?
No. I mean, they paid Mitch Trubisky too much. I mean, you're not going to pay a guy that much just to pull him. I mean, he's a bridge quarterback. He got a bridge quarterback contract, and they'd be dumb to bring him in there. Like, I mean, Mike Tomlin's gone 8-8 with like Mason Rudolph and like Duck Hodges and like all those scrubs, So like the only way that I think that Mitch Trubisky gets pulled is if he's throwing so many interceptions that he's losing the game.
So Andy Reid hates relying on rookies, especially receivers. Like the last rookie receiver that he gave any playing time to was Tyreek Hill, in all seriousness. They drafted Sky Moore. Supposedly he's playing really well in camp, and Mahomes loves him as a target. Is it worth drafting him?
Super late with like one of your last picks, but he's going to be one of those guys where, I mean, if he's going to be like fourth in their pecking order, of like pass catchers, like I usually don't like getting down that far.
So a hot rookie from Ohio State plays in New Orleans, Chris Olave, super stud. You don't watch college. I watched him play at Ohio State. I mean, he was great. And, I liked him better than Wilson actually, but I love New Orleans. I love their offense. I love, Winston loves to throw deep. Do you think he's worth a late pick too, or?
He is, I believe so, because he might start as the number 2, especially with all this stuff with Michael Thomas, how he's already nursing a hamstring injury, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's really about the opportunity. That's why I would draft some of these rookies, is based on the opportunity, not necessarily their talent or where they were drafted as far as like wide receivers.
So somebody else who's getting a lot of press, people are taking him in the draft. His ADP goes up every week, is James Cook, the running back in Buffalo. I mean, again, Singletary, I know, is the number 1. Cook supposedly is going to be the number 2. Do you draft Cook? I'm not drafting him at all in any of my leagues. I mean, I refuse. But
I'm not for any redraft leagues. I just don't see the point to it.
Yeah. So let's talk waiver wire. People draft the players they want on their team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they watch some preseason. And they see all these rumors, like we talked about, Robinson in Washington, and Pickett, or Pickens, any of these guys, and they end up dropping some of these guys that they drafted that they thought were going to have big seasons or surprise seasons. So, I mean, I can have a kid in kindergarten like do waiver wire shows, because it's obvious who you should pick up in waiver wire. For me, it's always the hardest who to drop. And that's the hardest part. I mean, we can all like look at the stats and figure out like in depth charts like who to pick up. It doesn't take a genius to say
it's always going to be those rookie running backs or rookie wide receivers who get dropped. So that's why you got to be scouring your waiver wire and paying attention to that, because those are, I mean, it's usually rookie wide receivers that are the first to go for me, especially if they don't show like any flash in week 1, which sucks, but it is what it is. I'll drop them. I'll pick someone else up.
So you drop people during preseason. You drop people. You don't have any.
Well, a lot of them I don't really draft until like a lot of our drafts are starting next week.
Yeah.
So after all the preseason games are done. So unless there's injuries or something like that, I'm probably not doing too much adding or dropping until till week 1.
So we got a question from Anthony, aka Rasta. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Fantasy Rasta.
Anthony Rasta. Okay, I have a couple shares if James Cook in best ball, but kind of fading in redraft unless I hear something different. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, because I have him in a couple best balls as well.
I do too.
But for redraft, I don't think I want to have him anywhere. I mean, I'm just kind of avoiding him.
I mean, I agree. I think best ball. Why don't you tell the audience what best ball is and how it works?
So best ball is pretty much like a glorified, just a big draft league is what it is, because you draft and you don't have to manage your team at all. Every single week, your top players get put in the starting lineup no matter what. So a lot of times people do these best ball drafts as opposed to mock drafts where it's just practice for fun and then nothing happens. A lot of these best ball leagues, you throw 5, 10, $20, low stakes. And usually it's winner take all. So it's just fun. If you end up winning one of these leagues at the end, you get some money.
And there's no maintenance. You don't have to waiver. There's no waiver wire. There's no trading. Who decides who starts? How does that work?
It's whoever scores highest on your team. So
Right.
after all the games happen, it's like as players score, they get put in your starting lineup. It doesn't matter. And then as players outscore those players, it subs the other players in. So highest scorers always will be in the starting lineup.
And there's a lot of places you can play. There's Underdog, there's Sleeper, there's Yahoo. They all have money leagues. You can, like you said, Hustler, you put $1 or $5, you put 20, whatever you want to gamble. But a lot of them are winner take all. A lot of them also have you get money every week for the highest points.
Yeah.
It varies, but again, I recommend you doing some best balls just to get practice.
I've got a really big best ball tournament that I've been doing. This is year 2. We have 252 teams that are in it, and it was a $22 buy-in. And first place is going to take home like $1,500, and they're $33 buy-in, I believe. I can't remember, or something like that. So seems so long ago. It was only like 2 months ago that we were doing.
Is there 10 people to a league? How's it work?
12.
So
we got 21 divisions of 12.
Okay.
And then half the teams make the playoffs. And then it's kind of like a battle royale where the top 50% of scoring teams move on to the second week of the playoffs. And then 33 teams move on to the final week, championship week. And then top 10 are in the money and prizes.
And this is all on Sleeper, I assume, Mr. Sleeper.
All on Sleeper.
And what's the name of the league?
So it's the Hustler Best Ball Tournament.
So if you want to join, you download Sleeper.
Well, you can't join anymore. We've already done all the drafting.
Oh, you already filled it. Oh,
I'm just pitching
about it then.
I'm pitching this for I'm pitching this so you guys can see the recaps that happen on my channel. And next year, the goal is to double up again and to get to over 500 teams.
That's great. How quick did you get all the players for your league? How long did it take you to fill up?
So, I mean, I was kind of pitching it like 2 months in advance just because I didn't know how long it was going to take. But really, once I got serious, which was maybe like 4 weeks before the draft started, because the drafts start right after July 4th. So I think it was July 5th, like the day after 4th of July, where we started drafting. And it's a slow draft. Most drafts lasted like a week or so. And it didn't take long. I mean, the first 100 spots filled up in maybe 72 hours once I was telling people about it.
Okay, so you do a lot of Superflex leagues. I know you're Mr. Superflex. You do Dynasty, you do Keeper, I think you can do Redraft, but you do 90% of the time there's Super Draft.
Superflex, yep.
Superflex. I want Super Draft. And are there any players that you're drafting that you just staying away from this year? I mean, who's on your do not draft list? Not just because you think they're going too high, and you just don't want them on your team because everybody's valuing these guys this high, and you have them down here.
Big one is Michael Thomas. I mean, I've really, really been out on him, and now him nursing the hamstring injury again, just totally out on him. Kenny Golladay, completely out on him. Doesn't matter. It could be the last pick in the draft. I won't draft him. Same with Michael Thomas. And so DeAndre Swift, I still can't get behind him at all. And then now because of Hard Knocks, I mean, if he has anything good that happens in Hard Knocks, it's going to bump up, his ADP. So I just don't like drafting him for where he goes.
I agree. And we talked about it. I just don't like Detroit Lions. I mean, he had 40% of his fantasy points last year was in 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games was his 40% of his fantasy points was Swift. So a lot of those weeks went by, he didn't do anything. And so if you're an owner, you're looking at him, you're saying, am I starting you this week, or do I start somebody else? Because
he was hurt for a lot of those. So, I mean, there was only a couple games where I think you had to decide if you were going to play him or not. He was on that PUP list for a while, and then they took him off, or not the PUP list, but the IR.
So I'm staying away. Any New England running back I stay away from this year. Belichick just screwed me so many times with his selections of running backs. It's not even worth drafting them. I mean, there's no. I just stay away. I'm probably not going to draft any Jets. I'm going to stay away from anybody on the Jets team. The Giants team, the same thing. I probably won't draft any Giants either. I mean, there's teams that I feel are just so bad. I'm just going to stay away. Atlanta is bad, but I do like Pitts, and I do think London's going to have an okay year, especially if you can grab him kind of low in the draft.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's just certain teams that I just stay away from. I mean, because their fantasy value guys are not that great. I don't like Barkley at all with the Giants. I just think he's a guy that's ready to get hurt again. And when he was healthy, he was horrible. He was like averaging 50 something yards a game. He stunk. I mean, so there are guys that in the past have screwed me, and then I got screw me again. I mean, these guys. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a great example. I drafted him first one year, and what happened? He broke his leg, out for the year. So when they screw me once, I'm done with these guys. I mean, I don't know what your rule is, but I mean, when these guys like Steven Jackson back in the day with the Rams, I drafted him like in the first round. What did he do? He went down and got hurt. He was out the whole year, the first game of the season. And so, I mean, again, just another Ross rule: if they get hurt the year before and they're high draft pick, I'd never pick you again. That's my rule. What are your thoughts?
Well, see, I guess you have to be on these guys early versus because like Christian McCaffrey, like it was like his third year where he was, I believe, where he had the crazy third year breakout.
He had the best year ever in fantasy football of any player, the best.
Yeah. But if you're good at drafting, that wasn't the first year that you had him. I had him as a rookie. I had him when he was a sophomore. I had him before he did that. So like all these people are like, oh, Christian McCaffrey like screwed me so much. Like you're only injured until you aren't. And like if you're a good manager, you can overcome the injury anyways. But this is why I mostly draft wide receivers higher than running backs because, just running backs by design get hurt. They all do. All of them, literally all of them.
I mean, you talked about running backs. I feel the running backs between the 5th and 8th round are just like half the time they're just useless. You know what I mean? I just feel they're like just out there. They may score a touchdown here or there, but they're just not consistent. They're just guys you end up waiving. They don't, these running backs you draft late are just guys. That's the problem. I mean, if you wait on running backs,
James Conner wasn't one of those guys last year. Leonard Fournette wasn't. So, I mean, you just have to find the couple diamonds.
That's why people are watching us right now. They want us to help them with the diamonds. And hopefully, I think one of the rookies that we talked about today is going to be one of those diamonds. I feel one of those guys, really, either Pierce or I think Robinson. One of those guys are going to pop.
Yeah.
I don't know who. That's why you got to kind of like spread the wealth and draft these guys in different leagues and just have them as a safety net. Don't start them. Don't have them as your starter. But to make your like running back 3 or 4 as one of these rookies is not a bad move.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's a long season. And again, we're going to see some starters. We're going to see some starters, not Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to play. But we are going to see some starters in the next couple of preseason games. And I think the first game is when? September 10th, 11th,
8th. I believe the Thursday game is September 8th.
The Rams are playing. Is that correct? Is the Rams?
Is it the Rams and the
Rams in Buffalo?
Rams and the Bills.
Be watching that for sure. We'll give our predictions and stuff on that game. It's always a fun game to have fancy players in the first game of the year.
Oh yeah.
And another Ross's rule, I'll tell you guys now, then we'll leave. Is if you have a player that's playing Monday night, I always start that player, Rustler. I don't know about you, but I love having that hope on Monday night that maybe if I'm behind, I have that hope that maybe that player will get me enough points to win the week. What do you think about that?
More often than not, I'm usually doing that too. It just makes it more fun as well. Yeah. Just extra stakes on the line. And especially like if the guy only needs like, a couple points, it just makes it that much easier. You're not stressing or anything.
Not sure. I mean, if you have the kicker, I know you hate kickers, but I'm saying,
oh yeah,
if you have the kicker and you just need like 2 points, it's a great feeling going to Monday night.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling if that kicker only gets you 1 point or something stupid like that.
Or they go for 2 each time. They go for 2 each time. You know,
yeah. That's why if you have a kicker on Monday night, you're playing in the wrong league. Get out of that league. Just get out of it.
Well, that's our show for this week. Next week we'll hit some big topics. We talked about rookies this week. I think hopefully our audience will take our recommendations. We'll see what they say. I'm Ross the Boss. This is the Hustler, Alex Merino. We love talking fantasy football with you, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
We're out. Peace.